Go.
Okay, now let's start. And before formally I will start my talk, let me explain what we are going to do in this particular session. We will talk a lot about fire, and there's something called fire pyramid, what it is. We most of the time we operate machines also, so I will talk about what are the dangers with the machines, and I will also talk about electrical current dangers. Another thing we do usually is we lift heavy weights. So what are dangers or how to do it safely, we will do that. Around the house we use ladders, so we will talk about how to use ladders in a safe manner. After this session we will also do a practical demonstration how to do the safely use the ladders and how to use a fire extinguisher. So this is the basic objective of this particular session. Before starting the session, I would like to remind you that in the first session I explained what are the safety involved in this particular, although we are talking about safety, but before I will start further, we are not in a industrial or in a lecture environment, so it's very important that I will explain to you what safety measures we have to take in case of an emergency. If the fire happens or any kind of emergency, there are 3 exits. One is in the front and one is through the laundry to the backyard. Any case of emergency, we will either go out through the front or we will go to the backyard in an orderly manner. We have a fire extinguisher over here. We have got telephone. You have to dial AAA, 000 to call the emergency services if anything goes wrong. But make sure you will do it in a safe way, because the telephone is inside the house. It's a good idea, go out the house and use your mobile phone to call the emergency services. So you have to be careful. If this we will do only in case of emergencies. Now coming back to our topic, the first thing we would like to talk about is fire hazards. But before I go further into it, let me explain a little bit about what is a fire pyramid, how a fire is dangerous, what you need to start a fire. Actually, you need 4 components. Firstly, you need some fuel to burn, otherwise the fire will not start. But the fuel itself doesn't start burning. You need oxygen with it. Basically what's happening is that in the fuel you have hydrocarbons, carbon and hydrogen, and if you have oxygen, that carbon will react with the oxygen, hydrogen will react with the oxygen, it will make water and carbon dioxide. That is a burning process, and unfortunately that process is exothermic. That means the heat will come out, that is in the form of fire heat, and that's the heat which will really damage you, and that's what we want to avoid. So heat is a part of the fire, oxygen should be there, and the third important thing is that it should keep on burning, so it will spread. So chain reaction should be there, then the fires are dangerous. So as this diagram explains, that there are 4 components of fire. If any one of these components is missing, you can stop the fire. So basically I am going to talk about how to stop the fire, how to contain a fire. So we will go through each one of them one by one and see how we can avoid first the starting of the fire, and once the fire is started, how we can stop it. There are a number of fuels which can burn. there are 2 points in a fuel which are very important. Like if you take ordinary gasoline, usually gasoline, if you are just having it somewhere, will not burn. It needs heat. Okay. But I would not like you to do it, but if you take a match, burn it, and put it in the gasoline, what will happen? Just dip it inside. Sada?
The fire will get put out. It won't burn.
It will not burn. I don't want you to do it. It's very dangerous. But if you quickly do it, it will not burn. The reason is because gasoline is not hot enough to catch fire. But if you take it near to the gasoline, not touch it, you will see there will be a flash. The reason is from the gasoline, the fumes are coming out. They are over the liquid. And if you take a heat near it, it will flash. There will be like a flash and then it will stop. Now that is a dangerous point. And more dangerous point is that if that flash will create enough heat, the more fumes will start coming out, because we know that heat generates fume, and you will start a chain reaction. That means that oil or that fluid will start burning, and it will not stop unless you do something about it. Right? So there is a flash point and there is a burning point. So flash point is dangerous. You don't want to reach that point. Different liquids have different flash points. So if you have in your house gas, it's very dangerous, because gas is like, it's not a liquid, it's in a gas form. So once it's leaking, it's everywhere. So if you have a heat, it will just simply flash straight away. Then different fuels have got different flash points. If the lower the flash point, that means the lower temperature, the flash point is at a lower temperature, it's more dangerous. If it's a higher temperature, it's not that much dangerous. So you have to be more careful with those liquids or those fuels which has got lesser or a lower flash point. So this typically shows you different temperatures at which the flash point occurs. Next we are going to talk about machine dangers. Machines are usually, we operate at home also, we operate in the industry also. Your car is a machine. So when you're operating it, you have to read its operating instructions. The guards should be properly, if you're operating a bike for example, or a scooter for example, then you should wear the helmet. That's a safety precaution, you have to do it. So because your bike or your car is a mechanical object, you have to handle safety according to that particular machine. Okay, now then there are electrical dangers. We use electricity at home, and but let me just talk about the machine a little bit more. If you are working, usually at home we don't work that much with these type of machines, but if you are working in industry, then we end up with a lot of machines where you have to, where the things come out of the machine, like if you are grinding something, the material will come out of it.
Wait, it's out of focus again. What? It's not my fault. It won't focus on you. Because you keep moving. Yeah, okay, there.
Okay. Now, if the things are coming out of the machine, let's say if you're grinding and these sparks are coming out, then you have to wear some safety goggles, some helmet maybe, while working with those kind of machines. So it's a safety precautions you have to take. So every machine has got danger points. You have to identify what are those danger points and how we are going to address those danger points. So best thing is go through the operating instructions of that machine, and usually operating instructions has safety instructions also. So you have to follow safety instruction given in that particular machine. Like in this particular case, somebody is grinding, and if he doesn't have if he is not wearing glasses, then the sparks can come out of the grinding wheel and can go into his eyes, and that's a safety issue. He can lose his eye. So he has to have industrial safety goggles. Another important thing then is machines move. So while you are operating the machine, you should exactly know where and how the machine is going to move. So you should not be in that area. If you are cutting something using a machine, if machine heads are moving, you should not be near it. So firstly, you should wear a helmet and you should not be in the way of the machine. And there's a saying, because I'm a mechanical engineer, when I started, my teacher once told me, if you make a mistake, a human being or even a god will forgive you. You can get away with it. But a machine will never forgive you. If you make a mistake, that machine will punish you straight away if you are not following the proper safety procedure. So you have to be very careful when you are working with a machine. Then next thing we use in industry and at home are the fire hazard. It's a fire hazard also, but with the electric current. The biggest hazard in electric current is when you expose yourself to electric charge. Some wire is not properly joined or it is exposed and you touch it, you will get a nasty shock. That will be life-threatening also. And you have to be careful. Like for example, even if everything looks alright and the area is wet, water is a good conductor of electricity. So although there are no wires around, electricity start coming through the water and it can give you a nasty shock also, or it may be very dangerous also. So electric safety is very important. You are not supposed to handle any electrical equipment or fix any electrical equipment unless or until you have a license or you know exactly what you are doing, or you are trained. The reason why electricity is so bigger problem. When electricity passes through an object, and if the object has resistance, from electrical laws, when you are doing in your HSC, we know, we did some formula also, that resistance and current will generate heat. That's usually happens in your ordinary electric heater. You pass electricity, an element will become hot, and you get, in the winter, you get warm energy from it. But problem is, if electricity passes through our body, it will generate heat, because our body is like a resistance. And heat means it literally will fry us. Another problem is, human body, our body uses a lot of electricity on its own. For example, our heart is pumping and it is using electricity, which we are generating ourselves. So if an outside electric current will pass through it, it will disturb that. It may stop the heart. So you will have a nasty heart attack. Your brain is using electrical signals. If current will pass through it, and if its amount is large, then again you will have a problem. And typically, when you have electric shock, as you can see in this particular diagram, usually we work with our hands, and when you get electric shock, you are standing somewhere which is not insulated, and the electric current will pass through your hand, through your body, to your feet, and then go to the earth. So it's passing through all of your body, usually passing through your heart. And the typical effect of electric shock is your heart will start stopping. You need to be very good first aid trainer, person to restart the heart. Okay, so electricity is dangerous, so we don't want to put ourselves in such a situation where an electric current will pass through us. Now this is a typical diagram. It can be at home, it can be at work. Let's identify how many places we have a problem we are using electricity. The starting point is obviously your electric source, which is your electric plug. If your plug is not properly made, you will have a short circuit there, and the fire can start due to that short circuit. If you touch it, if the wires are exposed, you will get nasty shock or life-threatening shock also. The wires itself may be exposed. Over the time, the plastic coating on it may get damaged. You have to keep observing your wires at home, and if you by chance touch that exposed wire, you will get an electric shock. The wires should not be hanging around, because if they are hanging around over the time, there's a chance that they will get damaged. So they should be properly fixed. So if you look at in your house, it's not recommended to use a lot of extensions like we are using in some of extensions over here. It's not very good. Try to use the fixed wiring. So if you see, a lot of wiring is hidden and is fixed. Another source of electric shock is your actual equipment. Somehow that equipment becomes electrocuted. You touch it and it will have a problem. Okay. Another hazard, it may not be the electrical hazard, if the wires are lying around, number 5, and if you're walking, you can fall down. So it's like a mechanical hazard, but it's happening due to wires lying around. So you should have a rug or something on top of it so that the wire is not exposed and people can easily walk around. Another thing is if you're taking the wire through the door and over the time you're opening and closing the door, that wire can get cut, can get damaged, and that point will be very dangerous. So these are some of the places. Go around in your house and observe. Pause for a minute, please.
Hello.